Hey you guys, so I am back with a brand new video. And you guys know that Rihanna dropped her new eyeshadow palette called the Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette, and that actually launched on July 6th. I want to say it's at Sephora and Harvey Nichols. I think I'm saying that right, but you can get it in store or online, and it does retail for $57. So it's quite an expensive eyeshadow palette. And if you guys watch my what's the new in makeup video, I told you guys that I was kind of unsure if I wanted to purchase the palette or not, because when I first seen the palette, it didn't scream buy me. It was kind of like, oh, okay, like you're cute, and I just wasn't sure if I wanted to buy the palette or not. So when I seen it in store and I swatched it, I still wasn't really impressed, but at the same time, a part of me wants the palette and a part of me kind of feels like I don't want the eyeshadow palette. So I was thinking to myself, for those people out there like me who just kind of feel like about it, or who kind of feel like the price is too expensive, I was trying to determine if I can find a dupe to the actual eyeshadow palette. So I decided to search high and low. So I was looking online on Ulta website, Sephora website. I was looking on Trendmood to see what palettes was previously launched, was launching. I was on the Hush app trying to find a dupe to this eyeshadow palette, and I could not find a dupe to the eyeshadow palette. I was digging through like my collection and I couldn't find a dupe either in my collection, and I'm like, oh my god, like she did create an eyeshadow palette that's not really on the market, but at the same time it's not that special either. Her colors are just slightly different from what's already out there. So I did find a palette in my collection that I think is the closest that I can find to a dupe. I'm going to leave it up to you when you guys watch this video to determine if it's a dupe or not. And I want you guys to sound off in the comment section down below to let me know if you think it's a dupe to her palette, or if you feel like no, it's not a dupe, go ahead and just get the palette because her colors are different. So if you guys aren't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and let's dive into the video. Alright, so if you haven't seen the Rihanna palette, I'm going to insert a picture right here on my screen because I don't own the palette. However, I have seen the palette in store already because I told you guys I work at Sephora, so I have seen the palette in store. But I am going to insert a picture right here so you guys can see what the actual palette look like. It is a really beautiful eyeshadow palette. I love the colors in there. You have those like 3 pops of colors that really make the palette stand out. And everything else is kind of like your neutral everyday colors that you can get in other eyeshadow palettes. Some colors you can get, some colors you can't get. But overall, it's a really pretty eyeshadow palette. But it still doesn't excite me though. So if you guys want to see the palette that I think could work, I'm not going to say it's a dupe. I'm going to say it could work as a dupe if you don't want to purchase the Rihanna palette. It's going to be the Jaclyn Hill palette. And when I first saw Rihanna's palette, my thought initially went to the Jaclyn Hill palette, and then when I looked at her palette and I was trying to compare the shadows, I was like, no, it's not gonna work. And then that's when I went looking at other palettes, and then I went back to this one again, and I'm like, can you work though? So let's go ahead and dive into the palette. So I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen the Jaclyn Hill palette. You guys know what it looked like. It's her collab with Morphe. And I am going to point out to you guys the colors that I thought was the closest to the one in the Rihanna collection. Keep in mind, there's not going to be a color to match every single shadow in the Rihanna palette, but I did find a good amount that can work as a dupe. So if you don't purchase her palette, it's fine, because you then have your Jaclyn Hill palette that you can kind of play with to recreate some of those looks from the Rihanna palette. So diving into the first one. The first color is going to be that green color on the bottom of the eyeshadow palette, and the one that I thought was a dupe to that one, this one is called Central Park, which is this green one right here. And let me swatch it for you. This is a shimmer shade, and here is the swatch for that one. And I do have this one on my eyelid right now, but I definitely thought that was like an automatic dupe to the Rihanna Fenty eyeshadow color. I will list the colors of the Rihanna ones and the Jaclyn Hill ones side by side in my description box, because I can't tell you the Rihanna colors right now, but I can definitely tell you the Jaclyn Hill colors because I have the palette in front of me. So again, that's definitely a dupe in my opinion to that first green color in the Fenty eyeshadow palette. All right, and then moving on to the second color is going to be that purple color. Now, when I was looking at my eyeshadow palette, I honestly cannot say there's a dupe to that color in that eyeshadow palette. So we're going to move on to the next color. The next color is going to be that light brown color, and I thought the color that could work for a dupe because it almost looked like a brownish grayish from the picture, because you guys know pictures can be deceiving. So the one that I thought that could be a dupe for that one was this brown one right here, and that one is going to be called Pooter right here. And let me swatch Pooter for you. And it is like a matte brown shadow. And here is Pooter swatched on my hand. Right there again is a matte brown shadow. It is like a lightish brownish color. So again, it's the closest one that I could find in my palette to match her color. And then moving on to the next one, that color is going to be like a light peachy brownie color. And the one that I found in my eyeshadow palette that could match it was the one right here. And that color is going to be called, that one is called Buns right here. And Buns is going to be like a light brown color, but it's not like a true bun. It's like a lighter peachier brown, if that makes sense. And it is a matte color. And here is Buns right here. And then moving back into the Rihanna palette, the next one is going to be that really pretty blue color. That's the star of the show in her eyeshadow palette. And for the Jaclyn Hill palette, that one is going to be the one called Pool Party, which is that really pretty blue color right here. And I was going to use Pool Party for my eyeshadow look, but I was like, oh my god, there are so many blue eyeshadow looks with that Rihanna palette that I just could not. So here is Pool Party swatched on my hand. And I did look at a few people's pictures to make sure it was like the same shade of blue. So it's pretty similar to hers. So you can definitely say there's a dupe to that one in the Jaclyn Hill palette. The next color is going to be that really pretty light purple color. I don't have that in this palette. Moving on to that really pretty like peachy, it's not peachy, it's like a orangish, peachy, I guess peachy like color. And the one that I thought that could work was this orange one right here. And that one is called Hunts, which is that one right here. Which is like a really pretty like brick orange color. So pretty, so pigmented, and it is a matte color. And then moving back into the Rihanna palette, there is another like light brown color. These brown colors are so hard to determine if it's like a peach or like a brown, because again, like the lighting is kind of off. But the ones that I thought were similar to that one in the Jaclyn Hill palette was this color right here on top. And that one is called MFEO, which is right here. It's like a light brownish color. It's almost like a skin tone color, so it's not going to show up against me. Which is right here. Again, you can't see it on me, but it's right there. Alright, and then back into the Rihanna palette. We are almost done. The next one is going to be that really pretty like purplish grayish color. I don't have it in the Jaclyn Hill palette. The next one is going to be that pink like champagne-y color, and it was kind of hard to determine in their Jaclyn Hill palette because she does have like 1, 2, 3, 4 champagne colors in the Jaclyn Hill palette. But the closest one that I thought that could probably work for it is going to be this really pretty like shimmer color. It's called Faint. And let me swatch Faint for you. And here is Faint right here on my hand. So I thought that was a really pretty dupe to the Rihanna one. And then moving back into the Rihanna eyeshadow palette, the next one is a really pretty light peach color. I don't have one in the Jaclyn Hill one that was similar to that. And then there is a really pretty gold color, which I thought could work for this one right here. And that gold color is called Queen. And here is Queen. And let me swatch that one. Super pigmented. And then into the last row of the Rihanna palette, we have like a really pretty, it's almost like, I can't really tell because again, the lighting is kind of wonky. it looks like a whitish vanilla color, and I would probably say this one in the Jaclyn Hill palette called Beam can probably work as a dupe to that color. All right, and here is Beam on my hand. So really pretty color. And then going back into the Rihanna palette, the next one is going to be another really pretty sparkly color. That color is kind of like a golden, like a light golden color. Jaclyn doesn't have one in her palette. Moving on is going to be like a yellow gold. She doesn't have that either. And then the last one is going to be like another like golden color, which she doesn't have in that palette either. So that's pretty much the colors that I thought that was similar to the Rihanna palette compared to the Jaclyn Hill palette. So again, it's not the entire palette is going to be similar, but you do get majority of the colors that's similar to the Rihanna palette. So it's one of those things where it's not like a true dupe, but you do have like similar colors in the eyeshadow palette. So it's up to you to decide if you feel like it's a close enough dupe or nah, it ain't a dupe at all. So let me know in the comment section down below you guys' thoughts on the Jaclyn Hill palette compared to the Rihanna palette. Is it a dupe to you or not? And I did create this eye look using the colors that was very similar to the Rihanna palette. So I didn't pick any colors from the Jaclyn Hill palette that was not in the Rihanna palette. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, do I think it's a dupe? I think it's the closest one on the market, but I would not call it an exact dupe. So if you do want to get your hands on the Rihanna palette, go ahead and do so. If you kind of feel like you're content with the Jaclyn Hill palette, then of course just get her palette. Her palette is cheaper than the Rihanna palette. I will have the price in my description box for you guys. So again, you can either get the Jaclyn Hill palette, which I think everyone has, or just get the Rihanna palette because you don't have all the colors that's in the Jaclyn Hill palette that's in the Rihanna palette. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.